Well, hello everybody. This is Victor Valley, and I believe we have Chad Irvine up here in the booth for today's action of the Watkins Glen Grand Prix. It is going to be a test event here for the NASA GT America Series presented by Spark. So we're going to go ahead and jump right into the action here. Chad, what are you expecting in this race?
Well, it's a short 15-minute heat to get us started. A good grid of cars. The Kingsbury brothers for Spark VR on the front row. It's going to be an interesting start, inversion of 8 cars after the heat into the main event. It's going to be a fun race. It's going to be a wild one. Let's see how things go as they prepare to roll towards the start-finish line.
And while we have a moment, we'll go ahead and take a look at the weather. Right now, as it stands, it's 84 degrees in Watkins Glen with a 39% humidity out there with a westerly wind of 7 miles per hour. So that's going to absolutely affect the way these guys handle this course. A little bit warmer out there, a little bit hotter. It's going to be a little bit harder to get a grip on that car. But we're about to get on your way here. This is the old Watkins Glen, so there's even less grip out there for these guys.
It'll be fun to watch. We got Ray starting on pole on the inside of his brother Matt as they come up to the line for the green flag.
Green flag in the air for tonight's event here at Watkins Glen for the sprint event. 15-minute race, as Chad said just a moment ago. As we head down into turn number 1, Ray Kingsbury going to go ahead and take the lead from Matt Kingsbury here. And up the S as we go.
Be interesting to see. 15 minutes here, it translates to about 8 laps, somewhere around there, just depending on how fast they go and what the leaders do as we get into the bus stop chicane for the first time.
Through the bus stop chicane, everybody through safely. We had one car go ahead and go off there. I believe that may have been, I'm trying to see who that was. I think that could have been the 37 here. Yeah, it was the 37 of Kamal Hamishi, I think, here. As we have a car spinning right here in front of us as Mertz and somebody else. I think that was Forrest. Yes, it was indeed Forrest, I believe. They got tangled up, but everybody back going here. A little bit of a messy start, but all clean and green right now.
Yeah, that 81 of Josh Mertz in a tight battle with one of the Apex cars as somebody is off down the back straightaway as well.
Yeah, I think that was Ivan Pandev here in that car. So unfortunately for him, it looks like he's had a couple of things go wrong here. But it looks like he's righted the ship and is back out there now.
Yeah, Josh Mertz and Lee Tucker in the 32 battling hard towards the back of the pack. They've got some cars 2 by 2 as they come through the end of the boot and up the main straightaway.
Oh, and they're off in the gravel. I don't know who that was. I believe that may have been the... Ooh, I think that might have been Brandon Lambert. Yeah, it was Lambert.
Straight into the wall, coming back towards turn, was that 13, I believe.
Yeah.
Lambert's got no front end on his car.
Yeah, no front end on that Ferrari. An absolute shame for him, but back up front, it's all Ray Kingsbury right now.
Yeah, we've got Ray followed by his brother Matt, then Michael Janney behind in a tight battle as Jack Belton goes for third, diving up the inside.
So Belton taking on Janney here, side by side, these two, as it looks like Janney's going to go ahead and prevail for the time being. Takes a wide line through the entrance to the boot here. It looks like he's going to hang on to the spot for the time being.
Further down through the field, still Lee Tucker and Josh Mertz still separated by a couple tenths of a second. There's not much between these two cars.
Yeah, not much between 3 or 4 cars right there. There's Philip Kraus right in front of this group. Is Tucker, Mertz, and Brokaw all duking it out down the back straightaway here at Watkins Glen.
Tucker got a little loose there coming into the heel of the boot, so Mertz goes up the outside. He's going to try to get it done the long way, and he does. He's able to clear him coming up through the heel.
They're still side by side, actually, as Tucker tries to come back but can't fight back. And it looks like Mertz is going to prevail and hold on to that spot.
And the 903 of Brokoff tries to follow through. Let's see if he can hold the position. He cannot. 32 Lee Tucker falls in line behind Josh Mertz.
So right now it seems like everybody's kind of started sorting themselves out. We got a battle a little bit further back now between Stephen Lane and Marwan Mafta, I believe, as you see those two cars go side by side across the start-finish line.
And Jack Belton still fighting for that third spot between him and Janney up towards the front. We've got some tight battles. We've got about a second and a half between Ray and Matt Kingsbury up front. Then Janney 4 seconds behind, and just 2/10 behind him is Jack Belton in fourth.
Yeah, Belton and Janney still going at it here with about 10 minutes left in this event.
Looking all the way down through the field, only 3 cars right now as it stands out of it, or at least a lap down, if not out. Dan Ench is 30 seconds behind though. Other than that, all cars seem pretty competitive with at least a couple of seconds between them and the car them and the car in front.
Yeah, you're looking at the closest battle on the track right now. That's Jacob Kraus in the cheese car taking on Lee Tucker. Lee Tucker seems to be falling back. Not sure what happened. Maybe a little bit of damage or something else. Just maybe not comfortable with that Corvette at this time.
Give you a quick top 10 rundown. It's Ray Kingsbury followed by Matt, then Janney, Belton in 4th, Ragster in 5th, Hamishi, Edmond in 6th, then Fanning, Forrest, and Kraus wraps up your top 10.
Yeah, and Hamishi went straight through the bus stop on the first lap, so a good recovery for him to get back up through the field. Just put in a 1:44.724 was his last lap, and he's pulling away from Cody Erdman right behind him.
Yeah, this Apex Tech Racing team has shown some interesting speed. We've got between Hamishi and I believe it was Lee Tucker now, who's dropped all the way down to 13th. They showed some speed early on, but Tucker just slowly dropping through the field. Yeah,
Tucker kind of getting caught right now by Jacob Kraus there in the 29. We just talked about this battle here as we see another battle for position right ahead of him. That's Josh Mertz and Tim Brokaw going for position.
Yeah, we talked about them battling earlier. They were in that 3-way battle with Kraus a couple laps ago. As we continue through lap number 4 here as the leaders make their way through the tow.
So through first part of the boot here. You're not missing anything up front. Still Ray Kingsbury in the lead with Matt Kingsbury in 2nd. Michael Janney 3rd, and then Jack Belton 4th, and Savion Raxter rounds out your top 5.
It's been an interesting race to watch so far. Wrapping up lap number 4, heading to 5 is going to be, as I said, 7 to 8 laps in this race. 15-minute timed event, as we still have about, I'd say 8 cars within 10 seconds of the lead. Anything can still happen.
Yeah, anything can and will probably happen in this event. Philip Kraus kind of making his way through the field right now. Just set one of the fastest laps of the event. Absolutely right up there with the best of them, with Ray Kingsbury, Matt Kingsbury, in lap time regard. So keep an eye on Philip Kraus right now as he catches the battle between Carrion Forrest and Cody Erdman right in front of him.
Yeah, the interesting thing to note, Matt and Ray Kingsbury qualified and are currently running 1 and 2. But then P3, Ivan Pandev, all the way back, he's 2 laps down, he's out of this race. And then the 4th qualifier, Janney is now running in 3rd place. Jack Belton, who's running 4th, qualified 6th. So the way that they're running versus the way that they qualified, the top 4 pretty much seems about right. Other than that, a couple cars have dropped back. A couple cars moved up quite a bit as well, as we see the 5th place car, Savion Ragster, went from 10th qualifying spot, now 5th on the track.
And we focus on the battle here for 7th position right now on track. This Carrion Force and Cody Erdman. Erdman going to take a slice out of them through the hairpin. Can't get it done. Here comes Philip Kraus to try to get involved. Kraus and Erdman used to be teammates over at Cody Erdman's former team in NASCAR Rallycross competition. So a little bit of good respect between those guys, as it looks like
Erdman
Force is going to get by. Yeah.
Sent it in deep, got a bumper to his back end and sent him wide. Thankfully, though, no major damage as they stayed out of the wall.
Yeah, everybody seems to stay out of the wall and out of the way of any trouble. And we keep this thing clean and green. I don't believe we will actually have any safety cars in the Dash event today, but I believe we will have local yellows as per usual.
No major changes in the top 10. We just saw a small swap there, but as Edmund dropped back 2 spots. But otherwise, everything seems pretty close. Now, the biggest mover of the race so far, though, Philip Kraus, started the race 23rd, currently running P7.
Yeah, we can go ahead and go on board with him here. He actually was able to get by both Cody and Carry on Forrest for that position. And that was who you saw make that move down into the second of the 2 hairpin corners in the boot there, as he's going to go ahead and start pulling away and try to catch the 37 of Kamal Hamishi right in front of him. He was actually about a second faster the last lap, but he's about 4.5 seconds behind as of the last scoring loop.
Yeah, this Spark VR team looking really fast, really racing. They got 3 of the top 10 between the 2 Kingsburys and Kraus, as well as a couple cars further back in the field. Also, you know, just basically all the way top to bottom, that Spark VR team has a very strong roster. I know they've got some guys that are missing as well as we approach halfway through this race.
Yeah, halfway through the event so far. And as we look around the track, we have a really good battle brewing here between Jack Belton and Savion Ragster. Ragster in that yellow Ferrari trailing that silver Corvette. Beautiful Corvette there.
Some great liveries all around this paddock in this series. The drivers and teams have put some great work into their cars. They look great, they're running great, and we've got a great race on our hands so far.
Yeah, Belton up 2 positions from where he started, as you mentioned earlier. And Savion Ragster all the way up from 10th. So a couple of the guys going forward on the grid right there.
We haven't talked too much about the battle for the lead. That's because Ray Kingsbury is pulled away from his brother by over 4 seconds right now. And then Matt Kingsbury running P2. He's still got about half a second to Janny behind him. So
Janny's closing in a little bit, I think.
Yeah, that's a tight battle. The battle is starting to tighten up, but back behind them, though, I mean, you got Belton and Ragster within half of a second of each other, and then they've only got a second back to Hashini.
Yeah, it is an absolute dogfight right now here for 4th place between Belton and Ragster, and if they start getting a little bit closer together once again, like we saw just about half a lap ago, don't count out Kamal here in 6th place. He might actually have a shot at a podium if something happens to one of the top 3 and is able to get around these guys battling for 4th.
Yeah, Janny was closing up on Matt Kingsbury, but ran a little wide through the toe of the boot and through turn 10 and lost just a little bit of ground. He's starting to close back up, though, as they go through one of the tighter sections of the course.
That'd be nice and smooth exiting the boot right there. That is a very difficult corner to get right. Trust me, I know. I've been trying to run on iRacing for years, and I still don't know how to get that corner right.
I'm right there with you. That's why I joined you in the commentary booth. As we approach 2 to go, we've got 2:45 left in the race. Yeah,
just like that, we're coming to about 2 to go. I believe the white flag will be shown next time by. And obviously, our graphics have not been completed exactly yet, so you won't see the white flag on your screen displayed. But just trust us in knowing that it will be the white flag lap.
The lead now between Ray and Matt, now over 5 seconds. Starting to close up a little bit, but overall, Ray is just pulling away with this thing.
Yeah, but I think the battle is going to be for 2nd place right here between Kingsbury, Matt that is, and Michael Janney there. Janney really impressing everybody here, showing some great pace in that Porsche.
Interesting to see, by the way, Ivan Pandev that was way back in the field, and you know he qualified up in 3rd place, got knocked into the wall early. He's now back out on track, just trying to at least maintain some laps, because there is a points championship for these sprint races as well. Every single position matters, both in the sprints and in the main events. So interesting to see him back out on track, just trying to log some laps and make sure he doesn't lose too much ground in the sprint championship.
And I believe actually we had one other driver go off the track, if not two. It would be Chris Wetz and Drew Williams, as that's going to move Ivan Pandev up to 22nd, and he will probably be able to get Chris Wetz this lap around, depending on where Chris Wetz is on the track. Actually, Wetz is actually returned to the track as well, so we have two cars a lap down, or 3 laps down, battling for position possibly.
And Drew Williams just went 3 laps down as well. He is sitting in the garage with a bunch of damage to the left front of his car as well.
So we've taken a white flag here from Watkins Glen. Ray Kingsbury has this one basically handily in the bag. It's his race to lose. But Matt Kingsbury has his hands full with Michael Janney, who ran 5 seconds faster than him that last lap. Or, excuse me, half a second faster than the last lap.
I was going to say 5 seconds would be incredible for just a single lap. He thought about making a dive into the bus stop, did not, thought better of it, but now he's making the charge as they exit the bus stop, go back towards the boot.
So not many more passing opportunities left for Janney if he wants to get it done on Matt Kingsbury here.
He lost a couple of tenths there as they enter the boot. He's got about 4 more corners to go. Not too many passing opportunities maybe coming out of the boot. We'll have to wait and see.
I know we saw a couple opportunities and opportunistic passes in the IMSA event coming up in this corner right here, this right-hander coming up. But I don't think Janney is close enough.
And just behind them as well, Belton and Ragster side by side as they come out of the boot.
They're coming down the back straightaway and around that right-hander. Ragster not able to get the job done. Not quite yet on Jack Belton. But back up front, it's going to be all Ray Kingsbury here, as he's going to go ahead and take the win in the sprint event. And it looks like Matt Kingsbury is going to come home second, Janney third, and then we have Belton fourth, and Ragster is going to round out your top 5.
Further down in the field, it looks like Kieran Forrest is going to finish 8th. We do have that 8th spot inversion from the sprint race to the main event. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out.
So I believe I will put Forrest on pole for the main event today.
Yep, that main event is a 45-minute main event, top 8 inversion. I was going to be top 5, but this field just grew and grew to over 40 cars. We're going to have a great season on our hands for y'all.
Only 24 cars here in the test event today, but we will have a 40-car field most likely next week when we bring the Watkins Glen event live to you on the ASN network.
And a full rundown, we've talked about the Kingsbury's Ray, followed by Matt, then Janney, Belton, and Ragster 5th. Hamishi 6th, 7th was Kraus, 8th Kieran Forrest, 9th Tim Brokaw, 10th was Josh Mertz, wrapping out your top 10.
Yeah, Josh Mertz recovering for a top 10. 11th would be Kevin Fanning in the 911, Cody Erdman, Taylor Carroll, Jacob Kraus, Lee Tucker, Stephen Lane, Dan Nash, Brandon Lambert, Marwan Mafta, and Jacob Falcon round out your top 20.
And then those all top 20 were on the lead lap. Then we dropped down to Chris Wett's 21st, 3 laps down. Ivan Pandev as well got involved in an early accident. He finished 22nd, 3 laps down after starting 3rd. Both those 21st and 22nd cars, they started top 10 and unfortunately did not finish up that way. They were followed then by Drew Williams 5 laps down in 23rd and 24th, E.J. Fuellner.
Yeah. What a race that was. I would say for a test race, that was actually pretty serious competition.
Oh my gosh, there were battles all the way through the field. You know, we saw Ray and Matt get into it early on side by side. That Janney and Belton battle for 3rd came down to the last lap. Ragster and Hamishi, they were through the boot side by side. And then, you know, we saw Kraus, Forrest, Brokaw, they were battling. The interesting fight that I was really, immersed in was that battle between Brokaw, Mertz, and I believe it was Lee Tucker midway through the race. Mertz and Broco were able to hold the top 10 while Tucker fell down through the field for that Apex team.
Yeah, it seemed like Lee Tucker was on his way back as we had drivers like Philip Kraus on their way forward in that event. But, as I say, that was only a 15-minute race. I think a lot of guys were trying to push yourself a little bit harder than what they should have. And I think at this point now, this is where you're going to see a lot of drivers possibly go a little bit more, a little bit harder, I believe, this time around.
It'll be interesting to watch for sure because it is a shorter race. I feel like we'll see some more patience early on, but you'll also see in these longer races that you'll see more desperate moves as that's where the real points are made for the championship towards the end.
And I believe desperate times calls for desperate measures, I believe, is a phrase I've heard used a lot. And when we have an event where it's, a very short event, we'll see a lot more desperate moves. But going into the endurance event, I think that's going to be where a lot of the guys to shine in their ability to save their tires and actually save their cars for the end of the event. And you need to have that ticket to be there at the end of the event.
It was certainly fun to watch that sprint race. It'll be interesting to see what we have in store ahead of us. Because not only do we have this test race, we've got a 6-race season, including from tracks all across the United States. It'll be fun to watch for sure with week 1 here at Watkins Glen.
And that is absolutely the truth in that right there. As looks like we're going to have a little bit of a technical difficulty here for just one moment. But as we get this thing sorted out, we should actually have a little bit of an updated graphic here for this event. As you see a couple of things pop across your screen for just 1 second. But I'd say that is no big deal as we have it all finally sorted out.
And it looks like Chris Wetz that we talked about dropping in that to 3 laps down in the sprint race. It looks like he had connection issues as soon as the race was about to start. He finally loaded in, was running some quick lap times. He was very competitive. Let's see, he would have qualified P9, and during the race he was running some fast laps when he was out on track. There's also some drivers in the chat apologizing for some contact, but overall, just the way that race ran, it was a lot of clean passing, a lot of interesting moves that were made as we await the start of the feature. The 45-minute, it's going to be about 27 laps is what I've been told. Top 8 from that sprint race invert, so looks like the starting 8 will be Forrest P1, Kraus 2nd, Hashimi 3rd, Ragster starting 4th, Belton in 5th. Janney on the outside of row number 3, then Kingsbury, Matt on the inside, and Ray on the outside of row number 4. The rest on down is as we listed. As I see in practice there, it's Matt Kingsbury getting into the wall as he exits turn number 2.
Yeah, and we are actually on board right now with the Jack Belton machine. He was actually 4th, so he kind of has the one of the more even parts of the invert there. He only has to go back 1 position, as right now, as you can see, he is 4th fastest, or 2nd fastest, excuse me, with a 1:44.8. That's actually really far off of the leader right now in warm-up, which is Philip Kraus, who has a 1:43.354.
Yeah, we see some other drivers putting down some warm-up lap times. I mean, Panda, who qualified 9th, ran a 1:47. Ragster, who finished, he qualified 4th. I can't remember where he finished in that race. Let me check real quick.
I believe Ragster finished 5th.
5th, yep, he finished 5th. He ran 1:47.2 during his last lap. So, be interesting what happens coming out of this warm-up session as drivers switch from a. The biggest thing to note, though, is that they're going from a low fuel run during the sprint race to a full 45-minute fuel run for this long race.
Yeah, and that's a huge factor, especially for these cars. They're so weight dependent That's going to change the entire balance of these cars if these guys are not careful in the way they set them up. A lot of these guys, they might be running cars that are very good on light fuel, but not very good on heavy fuel. I've seen that a lot with a lot of the GT cars. They really drive well when you have low fuel in them, but once you have a full fuel tank in it, it's not very easy to drive, as we are about to get the feature event, the 45-minute event, on your way here from Watkins Glen. So, as noted before, Carry-On Force on pole with Philip Kraus lining up second. Hamashi going to be third with Raxter P4, and Belton and Janney on row number 3.
Kingsbury and Kingsbury row number 4. Matt inside of Ray. Then Brokaw, Mertz wrap up the starting top 10. Then Fanning, Erdman, Carroll, and Jacob Kraus lining up 14th. Lee Tucker 15th. Stephen Lane in 15th. Or in 16th, sorry.
Yeah, and obviously we didn't mention it before, but they do not have standing starts here, despite the fact that they could. They decided to go with a rolling start. Seems to be a little bit more fair to the guys in the back, a little bit more fair to everybody in the field, gives them a little bit more of a fighting chance, and also makes it a lot safer off the line. I believe we've seen that in IndyCar multiple times with accidents coming off the line. I think the most notable would be 2014, the Grand Prix of Indianapolis. So we'll have an entire pace lap around Watkins Glen International.
We're gonna have a fun time here as we get it set for a 45-minute, about 27 lap feature for this 24 car field. This is only the warm-up race though. This is just to get all the drivers and get us broadcasters and all the technical crew set for what an incredible season that we're gonna run with a full field of over 40 cars. We see some incredible liveries in the field as well, as we get set going up through the S's in our pace lap.
Philip Kraus is getting extremely excited there. He wants to get this race underway, as he's actually inside our Porsche pace car there. So hopefully somebody yells at him and tells him to get out of the pace car. He shouldn't be there. But
who wouldn't be excited to get this race started, though?
I was going to say, I think everybody's excited to get this thing on your way. Some of the guys that kind of missed out on that inversion here, Brokaw and Mertz just outside it. So they'll be starting 9th and 10th in this event, with Kevin Fanning right there in 11th. And then moving up to 12th after Cody Ehrman has missed the start, I believe. He is back in the pits. There he is in the pits. You can't actually see his car from this angle, but we'll go ahead and get you an angle that you can see that car, that year 1 Ferrari sitting in the pits. He missed the start. So that's going to allow Jacob Kraus in the Cheese Corvette to move up to 12th position, I believe. So actually an unfortunate break there for Cody Ehrman, but a fortunate break for Jacob Kraus.
The one thing I can't wait to watch for is Ray Kingsbury as we get set for this feature. He finished the sprint race over 5 seconds ahead of his brother. Now he has to start behind 7 other cars as he tries to work his way back up through the field.
Yeah, he's going to have to navigate through some not lap traffic, but slower cars, I believe, in the sense of it. But the thing is,
we haven't seen them on full fuel.
We haven't seen them on full fuel. And look who's running in second place. Well, they'll start from second place, actually. That's going to be the 19 of Philip Kraus, and we saw him put up comparable times to what Matt and Ray were able to do at the front of the field. So that may bode well for the 19 Spark VR Corvette of Philip Kraus.
We exit the heel of the boot as we look at 3 Spark VR cars involved in that inversion. They're running 2, 7, and 8 as we get set for the feature.
Yeah, lots of Corvettes in this feature as well. Which is actually kind of funny to believe, with it being a new car and everything. A lot of people have taken to the Corvette, and I'm surprised they've taken to the Corvette as well as they have. But at the same time, it is a new car. Everybody wants to play with the new toy.
The Corvette is fun. The Ferrari more stable. The BMW all around, I feel, is more comfortable for my driving style. but I'm not bad. I'm not good at this. That's why I'm in the commentary booth as we get set to go green for the feature at Watkins Glen.
All right, 45 minutes away as Kamal Hamishi's going to go for a 3-wide dive into turn 1. He's going to get it done. New leader in turn 1 is going to be Kamal Hamishi as Phil Kraus is going to try to go around the outside through the grass, and he's going to have to hang on to that thing as it looks like Matt Kingsbury going to go ahead and get up to 4th right away.
Yeah. So as they run, we saw Kraus go from 2nd, now running all the way back in 5th place, now getting passed for that spot as well. Yeah,
battle for 5th brewing right there with Ragster and Kraus, as we had 3 wide back there between Merce, as Merce has gone around and off, as has one of the Ferraris back here as well. I can't tell who that exactly is. I believe that's Pandev. That is Ivan Pandev. No good luck for that car, as it looks like back up front we've missed a pass for the lead. Is Jack Belton in the lead now?
What an incredible start that we've seen so far. Just the way that these guys have been running has been very aggressive early on. I'm surprised to see that, just because, I mean, you see Belton going from 5th to 1st in 1 lap. Kraus goes from 1st to 4th, or from 2nd to 4th now. He's made that spot up. And then we see, I believe that was it one of the Kingsburys that got into the back of...
And then I think we just had Matt go off just there in that Corvette. He had just gone off the course there. And we're going to go ahead and go on board with Matt Kingsbury right here in that Spark VR Corvette.
He's still only running back in 8th, so he's not too terribly far behind, but you know, he's got to be aggressive, bake up some time between him and the car in front.
Yeah, it looks like he's going to go ahead and round that lap off at P8, or actually P9, correction. So he's lost the position from the time of the start.
And he runs wide there again through turn number 1.
So he's got to take a breather here and get back in this event, as we see a battle for 2nd place, and now for the lead between Philip Kraus. Kraus back up in this one now.
As they go up into the bus stop chicane, he goes in a little deep, had to back out of it. As they exit clean, the top 2, top 3 are through the bus stop clean.
I think that's about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cars under a blanket here, trying to go for the lead as Belton leads him down into the boot.
Top 6 on track right now are all within a second. Make that 7 as Janny crawls up into the fight.
Looks like Reister's going to pull out and try to go for a move on that black Porsche of Carry-On Force, but it's actually going to cost him, as it looks like Gray Kingsbury's going to try to make a move around the outside of him, as we're going to focus on that battle for just a moment here, as Raxer now to the inside.
Peeks inside again. That leaves the door open on the outside for Kingsbury. They're side by side on exit. No, he's cleared.
Looks like a little bit of patience there from Ray Kingsbury, just trying to bide his time. He knows it's a 45-minute race. He's got time to make his moves. He doesn't need to force anything right now.
Oh, there's Kingsbury up the inside. Maybe barely got the inside of Ragster. Ragster goes wide.
Ragster now into the tire barriers, and he's going to lose his front end.
I think that part of that also was caused by Kraus as they went through exiting the boot. He got the inside curb. He had to check up a lot. That caused then car behind to check up, and then Kingsbury got into the back of him.
Speaking of Kraus, now Kraus going for the lead here on Belton, side by side through the S's. What a battle for the lead here. Who's going to give?
You can hold it flat out. It'll be interesting to see as they head into the boot. Then Hashimi is right there with them as well. He backs out as they go in deep. Kraus made a little bit of contact, his front left to the back right of Belton, as they're still nose to tail first 3 cars.
Yeah, top 3 under a blanket here, battling for the lead. You can see further back Matt Kingsbury going for a move on Carry-On Forest, and he's going to get it done around the outside, it looks like. Not quite, actually. He's going to hang on to 5th place there for just the time being, as we focus on the battle for the lead between Philip Kraus and Jack Belton right now. This one's getting good.
Belton, Kraus, Hashimi, Forrest, Kingsbury, and Janney all within 2 seconds of each other. Tim Brokaw not far behind as well. That's your top 6 as they're still side by side for the lead as they come up through the heel of the boot.
And coming up through the heel of the boot, maybe a little bit of contact there. Kraus trying to go around the outside, not going to get it done. He's going to look for the crossover right here. And there he goes to the inside. Oh, he's going to squeeze him in there. Oh, and a little bit of contact, and off goes your leader. That's Jack Belton through the gravel. And he's going to hang on, and I think Phil is going to give the position back, possibly. I'm not sure on that.
It'll be hard to tell just with how many cars are right here behind if it's going to be possible to even do that without costing yourself more than maybe 5 positions. I know it's all about sportsmanship in this series, but at the same time, you know, if you cost yourself more than just that one spot, is it really worth it?
So that is a good question as we go on board now with Philip Kraus in the 19. He's retained his second place position as it looks like we have a little bit of drama further back. Ray Kingsbury and Jack Belton getting into it.
They were door to door.
3 wide going
into the wall.
That's not going to work. Hang on, boys. Oh, here comes Matt. Matt's rebounded all the way up to 7th place now.
Wow, what a run for the Spark VR team. They're currently 2nd, 7th, and 8th, I believe. They're just running up there very, very well.
As we actually have Carrion Forrest get loose there, and he's going to lose multiple positions off the podium. He goes all the way down to P6, now P7, as it looks like Forrest and Kings.
He's going to go down to 8th.
Brokaw's going to get him now.
No, Brokaw backed out of it. Wow, I'm surprised he did that. He was door to door, side by side, and had the inside line as well, but could not pull that move off.
Yeah, not quite clear enough to pass him there. I think he just kind of saw that he was the faster car and just kind of let him have the spot. Brokaw just biding his time back there, trying to save his tires, most likely.
Kraus and Hashimi 1 and 2 separated by maybe 3 car lengths, and dropping back about 3 seconds is Kieran Fornes with a freight train of about 5 or 6 cars that are just nose to tail dogging it out as we are taking a look at what an incredible fight that we have through this entire field so far.
Yeah, it looks like further back, it looks like Brokaw now making the move on Carrion Forrest. Can't get it done once again.
Just
Forrest
slamming the
on.
door.
Absolutely hanging on at this point. Back up near the front, we have Jack Belton. This is a truly train with Jack Belton leading it. So it looks like Michael Janney going to try to slide it to the inside through the bus stop. Can he get it done? Not quite. Slams the door shut. And Belton retains P3 as it looks like Ray Kingsbury goes out wide into the grass. Now he's going to have Matt all over him for P5.
These Kingsbury brothers, you know, they might, share a house together. They might share setups with each other. But that doesn't mean they share everything. They're not going to share any room on this track between them. They're going to fight for every position that they can get. They're nose to tail right behind Michael Janney, who's running 4th.
Now, I don't know if you have seen the Kingsburys argue before, but when they get angry with each other, it is not pretty. So let me tell you from first-hand experience, these guys are not going to get an inch to each other on the track. But off the track, they're absolutely great friends and good brothers. So they share a last name, but as you said, they're not going to share an inch of the track when they're racing and duking it out on it.
Yeah. Looks like we've got a little breakaway there now. Kraus is pulled away from Hashimi. Belton, though, from Belton on back in 3rd through Kingsbury, if not through Forrest. They're nose to tail pretty much.
Yeah, Brokaw's going to go ahead and get the spot on Forrest. Finally worked over that 44 Porsche.
The Spark VR team looking strong early. I mean, Philip Kraus, he just about 2 laps ago, he was maybe 0.3 of a second behind or ahead. Now he's 2.7 ahead of Kamal Hashimi.
As they currently, the gap runs at about 2 seconds, but it is growing as Philip Kraus heads through the bus stop and out through the little carousel corner there as they head into the boot.
Some danger there. We saw Janney run wide through the bus stop, and then that forced Matt Kingsbury to run wide. So Ray got by, Ray got by. Matt had to run wide on exit of the bus stop, and now they go down into the boot. It's now Ray Kingsbury. Then Matt sends it up the outside of Janney. He cannot get done. Does he get the cut back on the exit? He does. He's side by side.
Side by side exiting the hairpin at the boot. And it looks like Matt Kingsbury is going to get it done easily on Michael Janney. Janney's going to fall back to 6th, but don't look now. Here comes Tim Brokaw.
Nice and patient. We've seen some incredible racing, and we're only 10 minutes into this feature race. What a start that we've seen so far.
And there's Ray Kingsbury and Jack Belton going at it. Ray's been very patient in making his way up through the field pretty methodically. Had some issues on the first lap, I believe. Kind of cost him a little bit of time, as did Matt Kingsbury, his brother. But it looks like these Spark VR Corvettes have rebounded, as, of course, in the lead is Philip Kraus, who actually had a horrible start. He was down to, I believe, like 4th or 5th after the first lap.
That was really close entering turn number 1. Kingsbury got on the brakes maybe a little too early for Janney's liking. Almost got into the back of him. Matt had to check up just a little bit more than I think he wanted to, and now they go up through the X's full throttle. Right on Matt Kingsbury's tail is Michael Janney.
Yeah, Janney's going to look around the outside in that black and red Porsche. Going to have to file in line through the bus stop. Can't go side by side through there, and he's going to lose a lot of ground to that white and orange looking, white and gold actually, I would say, Corvette of Matt Kingsbury.
Yeah, Porsche 913 running.
And something has happened to Philip Kraus, your leader. He has gone off somewheres. We're going to have to take a quick instant replay here to go ahead and see what has happened to Philip Kraus here.
I heard in the driver's chat, Hashim was asking what happened, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, yeah, he is now running. Oh, he says it's just having fun, but I don't know about that one.
Yeah, back to live images now from Watkins Glen. Philip Kraus decided, I think he decided, you know what, I don't want to be out front. It's a test race. I want to go ahead and test myself behind. Oh, and Phil is going to have almost a huge moment there and run into the inside wall, but he hangs on to it. No
you
contact
say he
with
almost had a huge moment. Oh, he definitely had a huge moment. He'll have to check his race suit after this one's over.
Check his race suit and check his pulse right now.
He definitely just slowed up as they went into the bus stop. He just let 3 or 4 cars by him now. He's running 4th across the line.
Yeah, I think what he was thinking was he wants to get some information running in some traffic. And I think this is a good way to do it right here, is just to get behind some cars. And obviously, that number 19 Spark VR Corvette in traffic is not as good as it is out front.
Now right behind him is his boss, a.k.a. one of the team leaders here for Spark VR, Matt Kingsbury. Has Ray right in front of them as well.
And Belton still hanging strong in front of Ray Kingsbury.
That's not the first time we've seen Matt get really squirrely on exit of that bus stop chicane. He's now side by side with Janney. They're going to have to take the long way around as they head towards the boot.
Yeah, and it looks like Matt's going to retain that spot. But Janney going to try to cut back on the outside this time. Can he get it done? It looks like Matt's going to send it in there pretty deep, but hang it right around the inside and get the run off. And here comes Janney back.
That's an interesting line for Matt to have to take there. We saw him in the sprint race try to run maybe half a car, a full car off the bottom there through the hairpin, but instead now,
that's Matt Kingsbury, I believe, off.
No, that's Ray Kingsbury.
Ray Kingsbury, excuse me.
There's too many Kingsburys in this series. One is enough.
Yes, I believe we have too many Spark VR cars out there as well. And actually, excuse me, as we have, it looks like that would be Jack Belton going off now.
From second all the way out. Wow. Yeah. He's now running back in the field quite a ways.
Okay, so we'll go ahead and take a replay and see what happened to Jack Belton first. Looks like he got on the curb. Did the same thing Philip did. But this time he came a little bit closer to the edge there. And now we're going to go ahead and see if we can take a look and see what happened to Ray Kingsbury. Just looks like he went wide into the corner and got off in the grass, and that grass will suck you in.
The one thing that I do want to question, though, it looks like there is a little bit of damage on the back end of of that. Oh, I can't remember who that was. I believe it was. Either way, it looked like one of the Kingsbury's, Ray, got into the back end of another car that sent him wide.
And it could have been Jack Belton there in the 17.
I believe it was, yes.
So we're going to go ahead and take a look here. We're going to go ahead and zoom that camera in.
So I believe right as Ray went wide, he got into the back of Belton going through that corner.
Don't see much damage on that car. Trying to see if we can find any damage on it, but it does not look like that 17 is damaged. It looks like he just had a mistake coming out of the boot there. Got on that curve, and it looks like that car seems to be pretty much fine.
Now Hashime, though, opens up about a half a second, maybe a second lead over Kraus as they go up through the exit of the boot and going through the last couple corners back to the front straightaway.
Yes, Hashime, Kraus, Kingsbury, Janney, Brokaw, your top 5. As we're about almost halfway through in just a little bit here. I'm getting ahead of myself, I believe. We're just about 15 minutes into it. We've got a little bit more to go. I would say, I think we're about 2 minutes away. We're about a lap away from halfway, I think is actually the better way to say it.
That's all right. Math is hard. We're a third of the way through this race. We'll go with that.
Yeah, let's just go with that. I think that's the best way to put it. And right now, it looks like it's all Kamal Hashimi, but don't look now. Philip Kraus is on his way up through the field and back to the front. He ran about almost 2 seconds faster. It's about 1.3, so 7/10 more, and he would have been 2 seconds faster.
Way back in the field, something's happened to Cody Erdman. He got into the grass going into the boot. He's got some wing damage as well. He's just all over the place trying to leave room for other cars.
And we're going to go ahead and take an instant replay here. You can see just the tail end of it there. It looks like now we don't have Cody Erdman on board, or the shot of Cody Erdman. So at this point, this car looks pretty clean.
Oh, he just cut the bus stop too early. I have never seen that before.
I mean, I had, because I've been driving on the sim for long enough to make that mistake myself. But it's not one you make very often. And not a mistake that Cody Erdman himself makes that often as we go back to live images. As Philip Kraus is retaking the lead from Kamal Hashimi here with an incredible 10th lap here.
Ray Kingsbury trying to make a move on Taylor Carroll for 6th place. He peeked his nose inside as they went through the boot, not able to get it done. Some interesting things to note. Kieran Forrest, we talked about him. He went from 1st to 8th so far. The biggest mover that I'm seeing, though, is Drew Williams going from 23rd starting this race, now running 10th.
Yeah, Drew Williams doing a really good job in that number 5 there. And I don't believe, let's see if we do have anything for him. We don't have his car or helmet, but I believe we'll have those for the event next week. I say that's what I heard, at least from a couple people earlier today. So we will have that car for the graphic. The beautiful car, from what we can see, is we have a good battle between Lee Tucker and Josh Morris. It seems like they've been together in both races here.
Yeah, I'm focusing in on this Janney Kingsbury Brokaw battle there for 3rd, 4th, and 5th. These guys through the bus stop chicane, nose to tail, not able to advance their positions at all, but the 3 of them running real close. They're being real aggressive, trying to make moves on each other. Matt Kingsbury gone from 7th to 4th, or 7th to 4th, and still trying to work his way up even further.
Yeah, and right now it looks like we have basically about a 6-car train here. Or actually, I'm sorry. Yeah, about a 5-car train from 3rd to 7th. It looks like Janney, Kingsbury, Brokaw, Carroll, and Kingsbury. Ray being the latter of the 2 Kingsburys, and Matt being the first of the 2. All duking it out here for position, but it looks like Janney's kind of pulling away a little bit.
Now we see our 5th place starter in the main event. Jack Belton off track. He is in the pits. So we've got, looks like 4 cars currently out of this race. That's Belton, Erdman, Fanning, and Kraus. Ragsford, the last car on the lead lap, started 4th, now running 20th.
Yeah, and it looks like Kevin Fanning has continued to circulate around the track, but he is 7 laps down. Jack Belton and Jacob Kraus, the only 2 cars that are out of the event as of right now. As you see Savian Raxer, who had that, I believe, is a lap 1 incident, if not a lap 2 incident, if I'm not mistaken, earlier on in the event. As we head up back to the front, Matt Kingsbury under fire, under siege from Tim Brokaw. Oh, and look, Kingsbury get a little bit of squirrely coming out of the carousel there. That car is not settled whatsoever.
Yeah, they got about 2 seconds between the leader, Philip Kraus, and Hashimi. I think that kind of these guys towards the middle of this train are just thinking, let's work together, let's catch up to the leader and try to draft up to him and see what we can do. Let's make some moves, save our tires, save our cars, and let's get racy towards the end.
Yeah, and Janney's actually caught Hashimi here, so that we're going to have a battle for second place in not too long. But right now at the front, it looks like Philip Kraus out by 3 seconds.
We're now 20 minutes into this race, 25 to go, approaching now 24. This race is starting to really heat up, especially for second place, as we see Janney try to get something done as they approach the line on Hashimi. Is he going to send it up the inside going into turn 1? It's only a matter of time.
Doesn't look like he's close enough this time around. He might show his nose a little bit, but not going to pull out. Not quite yet. So I would assume that Janney's probably just going to show his nose a little bit, try to get Hashimi off of his groove and out of a rhythm, and try to capitalize on that mistake that Hashimi might make.
As much as you want to run your race, do your thing, you also have to worry about cars behind you, and if they force you into a mistake, that could spell trouble, not only for maybe the position, but that could be even worse and cost you your race.
Yeah, exactly. Don't want to make a mistake, and not in these cars. They're too fast and too fragile to make a mistake in. Any kind of mistake will cost you big time.
As fragile as these cars are, especially through the floor, they generate a lot of downforce that way with ground effect. Matt Kingsbury just hammering the curbs, going off track a couple of times I've seen so far this race, through that chicane on the back straightaway, and just the way that he dives it down in there, the way he sends it on exit running wide, I'm surprised that he doesn't have more damage and losing more downforce as we've seen him attempt for second, sorry.
For second place right here between Hashimi and Janney. Janney gonna be on the outside, exiting the boot, might have to allow Hashimi back in there, and he will. But look for a move coming down the front straightaway, if not right here, as he's gonna go to the inside, possibly contact made, but no, they're gonna keep it clean. And it looks like Janney's gonna be forced around the outside there. He's gonna get the run off.
And Matt Kingsbury back and forth, just right behind them, waiting to pounce. This battle is 3 cars fighting for 1 position.
On board with Michael Janney right here in that 913. And it looks like Kamal Hashimi right in front of him, trying to find a way around. Watching the driver just move around, watch the steering wheel move around. 5th gear, 6th gear now as they're going to head down into the bus stop.
And here comes Kingsbury trying to get the move done on Janney as well. He's just going to send it through the bus stop. He's got a position. He's there alongside.
Oh, almost contact. I think there was contact.
There was maybe some net code there. It's impossible to tell in real time, as now it's going to be Kingsbury trying to chase down Hashimi.
Yeah, and Kingsbury just kind of sent it right on in there. Said, looked at Michael Janney. Janney was kind of holding off on the left side there and said, I see this real estate, don't mind if I do, and took it right down the inside, up to P3 for Matt Kingsbury.
Matt finished second in that heat race in the warm-up sprint event, and now we are seeing him try to put the moves on to get back to that spot here in the main event. 45-minute event. We are over halfway now. 20 minutes left just about in this 45-minute race. As we come back through, Philip Kraus, though, starting to pull away as he heads back through the final turn towards the start-finish line.
7 seconds your gap right now from Philip Kraus all the way back to Kamal Hashimi. Is it going to be another Philip Kraus waiting up here? We'll see. I don't think he will, but only time will tell if he does wait up or not for these guys.
Yeah, he started first, started to pull away, then intentionally going down the backstretch, dropped all the way back to 4th position, and then decided, you know what, forget it, I'm just going to run away with it. And we've seen how he can dominate this field. We didn't see much out of him in the sprint race, finishing 7th, but now just look at him as he goes through the bus stop chicane.
Yeah, and I don't believe he actually qualified for the sprint event. So that is why he was actually so far back there. He was able to make his way from, I believe, 20th place all the way up to 7th place. So up 13 positions in that event. But looking at Philip Kraus right now, let's take a look at the stats. Up 1 position from where he started in P2, now up to P1. After starting P2, as I just mentioned.
I was able to run the 24 hours of Le Mans this year with Philip Kraus, who's currently sitting at the top of the field. What an incredible talent he is. He drove his way through that field in a BMW. Now he's doing the same in this field in the Corvette.
Yeah. I mean, absolutely what a talent Philip Kraus is, but what a talent all of these guys are, as they've been able to run relatively cleanly for about 25 minutes now, up until about 26, 27 now, going on 27 right here, minutes in this event.
Of the 24 drivers in this field, we have 7 B-class drivers. The rest of the field is an A license. We see some incredible talent all the way top to bottom. As we're looking back through the field, a tight battle between Kingsbury and Carroll, and then between Carroll and the car behind there, the other Kingsbury. All the way through this field, though, we see some incredible drivers and some great talent all the way down.
Absolutely, a lot of great talent. I mean, as far back as 15th, Brandon Lambert, not known as a GT specialist, very good stock car driver and a really good rallycross driver as well. He's picked up some wins in the NASA Rallycross Series, the Sim Racer Coin NASA Rallycross Challenge on that side of the thing. Savion Raxter has some good results in the 2020B Championship. I believe he was on the podium quite a few times. If not on the podium, really close to it in that event. And then, of course, Cody Erdman, a champion in his own right in the NASA Rallycross Series as well.
We talk about some of the makes and models of these cars. We see 11 Corvettes in this 24 car field compared to only 4 BMWs and about, I think it's 4 Porsches as well. So just, we see a field dominated by Corvettes, but the rest of it pretty even between Porsche, BMW, and Ferrari.
Yeah, you got a couple Ferraris. Unfortunately, it looks like a lot of the Ferraris towards the back of the field. Looks like the Porsche's kind of hanging strong there. The highest running Ferrari, you see it across the top of your screen. That would be Ivan Pandev, I believe, in the 99. He's running 10th place right now in that yellow Ferrari. He was actually caught up in the lap 1 incident with Josh Mertz, who's right in front of him actually. About 5 seconds down the road is the blue and yellow Best Buy Corvette of Josh Mertz.
The highest running driver for each manufacturer, Philip Kraus in his Corvette running first. Brokaw, the highest BMW in 5th. And then we drop to Janney in 6th in the Porsche. Ferrari in 10th with Pandev.
Yeah, Pandev doing a pretty good job rebounding from that first corner, or well, not first corner, but first lap incident that happened in the bus stop with Josh Mertz.
And so currently, as they run on track, Kraus, Kingsbury, then Hashmi, then Ray Kingsbury, followed by Brokaw and Janney. Brokaw and Janney in a really tight battle there. That's for 5th and 6th on track. Then Forrest in 7th, 8th Carroll, Mertz, and then Pandev wraps up your top 10.
So right now, it looks like we actually have a pretty good battle brewing back here for 12th between Tucker and Wentz. Chris Wentz obviously didn't have any good luck in that opening race, the sprint race, But it looks like he's kind of moving his way through the field nice and slowly. I believe, if we can get graphic on it, up 8 positions in that 71. It's the 171 officially, but in this event, he is running the 71.
It's interesting to see for Lee Tucker. He was running about 6th, 7th, 8th for a decent chunk of that sprint race. He had an issue, dropped back 3 or 4 spots. He started this race 15th, and now he's under siege for 12th place from wets.
Yeah, and again, I think there might be, that car might just not be stable under low fuel conditions. There's a lot of cars that are built differently. Low fuel cars, some cars are bad under low fuel. That might be an endurance setup in that car, compared to the more sprint-minded setups we saw of possibly, the Philip Krauses and the Kingsburys. As speaking of the Kingsburys, they have taken the top 3 positions, as we see Matt Kingsbury go really wide and almost lose it, but hung on to that car pretty well.
Yeah, Lee Tucker in 12th that we were just talking about. He is looking really squirrely as the tires start to go away. The fuel starts to wind down. He's looking really loose both through the bus stop chicane and through the boot as well, as he's still under pressure. But we do see Team Spark VR taking the top 3 positions there. They're just dominating this race. They really seem to love this track.
Yeah,
as we see Apex there in 4th.
Yeah, the Spark VR cars, they are, the based out of Connecticut. Spark VR is, of course, with as are Matt and Ray Kingsbury out of the Connecticut area. So not a long drive for them to Watkins Glen International. I'm sure they've been there in real life for a couple of the NASCAR events and the IMSA events and whatever else goes on there at Watkins Glen International. Of course, they have Lime Rock a little bit closer in New Jersey Motorsports Park, down south of them.
Yeah, so we got Spark VR, the top 3, and then we got Apex Tech Racing running 3rd, and then iDrive Sim in 5th with Brokaw.
Yeah, and speaking of Apex Technologies, they are the title sponsor of the Watkins Glen event, so we'd like to give them a quick shout out here on the broadcast. Apex Technologies USA, the title sponsor of the Watkins Glen event.
So Philip Kraus now pulling out to over a 10-second lead on 2 of his teammates. I guess you could call them bosses. The Kingsburys really seem to want to lead this team, as they are the locals to Spark VR. So they're running 2nd and 3rd. The Kingsburys are, as they're in a tight battle between the 2 of them.
And a little bit further back, you have Taylor Carroll, easy for me to say, and Carry on first. I believe these guys are teammates, duking it out for position right here. As it looks like Carroll getting a little bit out of shape there, but he's able to hang on to it for the most part.
Yeah, too much curb on entry really sent them squirrely, as that gives, I believe that
is the Kevin Fanning machine, who is 3 laps down, not 4 position, actually, excuse me, 7 laps down, not 4 position right there behind them. And this is,
next car behind them, 4 position, is Josh Mertz, about 6 seconds back. He's got as well as a 6-second lead on Ivan Pandev, and then he's got a large gap behind in 11th is Drew Williams in the other Apex Tech car.
Yeah, there's Josh Mertz there in the number 81, all by his lonesome there. He can kind of see Taylor Carroll just in front of him there, but a long way to go if he wants to catch him with about 11 minutes left. So now we're starting to get down to the nitty-gritty here. Can anyone catch Philip Kraus, who set a blistering pace of 1:43.867 on that last lap? Don't think anyone's going to be able to catch that number 19 Spark machine right there.
About 5, maybe 6 laps to go, just depending on when the leaders cross the line. The thing is, we've seen Carroll really hammering these curbs, trying to get to the back of Forrest, see if he can't make a move as these 2 Porsches try to duke it out as he sends it up the inside. Took a peek, but not close enough to get any sort of move done.
Yeah, not quite close enough for Carry-On Forrest, and he's going to lose a bunch of time coming out of the bus stop. No pressure from behind unless you want to count that lap car as pressure. And honestly, if it was me, I probably would, because I am very paranoid about those kind of situations.
Another interesting battle to watch further back in the field. Nose to tail is the Spark VR car of Marwan Mafta, followed by Wetz and then Lambert. They're all within about a second of each other on the track.
Yeah, Wetz and Lambert, they actually go back pretty far, as we see Mafta go wide, and that's going to allow Wetz to capitalize, and Wetz now up to P12.
Yep, that battle for 12th, 13th,
Oh, and Mafta.
and 14th.
Oh, wow.
And he almost collected Lambert as he got loose, and now Wetz Mafta completely loses it.
Lost it. The Egyptian driving for the junior Spark VR team has lost it, and he is going to have to get that thing righted here. Looks like he will right here.
That top Spark VR team all running the Corvette. Mafta, one of the few running the BMW M8. It's such a fun car to drive, but he definitely has some damage to both his right front and his entire splitter.
Yeah, and now going back to that battle for 12th position, Wetz and Lambert. As I mentioned before that all unfolded, these two have a lot of experience running with each other over in the NASCAR Rallycross Series. Before it transitioned over to iRacing, those two ran a lot together. And we're going to go ahead and jump to the battle for 7th place now. Carroll and Forrest still going at it.
Yeah, these two Porsches are really trying to do their best. They are pulling away a little bit from that lap car behind them as well, so they don't have any pressure to worry about from behind. I don't think that would really come into play anyway. I think that lap car would, kind of show some sportsmanship and a little bit of respect there and just say, hey, you guys do your thing. But one thing to note of these two cars, though, Taylor Carroll running 7th currently has the fastest lap of the race. He's got the purple lap as they continue their way through the heel of the boot.
Yeah, it looks like he does have the fastest lap of the event. I'm trying to find if there's anyone faster than him right now.
Now, his last lap was a 144.484. That's the... Well, it looks like other than Philip Krause, who ran a 143.5 to start things off.
So to say the fastest guy so far, Philip Krause with a 143.566. Michael Janney breaking into the 143s with a 143.853, and then it's Ray Kingsbury followed by Matt Kingsbury. Both of those guys in the 144.0s. And then we get back to, I believe, Taylor Carroll with that 144.4. So about 5th or 6th fastest, I believe, for that number 10 Porsche, as it looks like he's pulling away from Curry and Force by a good bit now.
Yeah, also Brokaw, we talk about him a lot the last couple of minutes. He started 9th. That's the first spot outside of the inversion. And of those drivers that started in the inversion, they're currently running 1 through 5. They've got then Kieran Forrest, who started first, now running 8th. Savion Ragster, who started this race in 4th, now running 1 lap down in 17th. As well as Jack Belton started 5th, now running 22nd, as he is out of this race.
Yeah, Belton out of the event. He has parked that thing, and unfortunately for him, that is as far as he will go. Dan Inch now out of the race, and he has parked that machine. It looks like Kevin Fanning will jump him up until P20.
Matching themselves step for step, starting 22nd and 23rd were Pandev and Williams, the biggest movers of the race so far. They started 22nd and 23rd. They are now running 10th and 11th.
And something has happened to Carroll. Carroll has gotten off. Looks like we had the teammates running together here on track. And, oh, goodness.
And he just lost it.
Yeah, I was going to say, I believe that was Janney. Janney lost it, and
maybe they just followed each other in too deep.
Let's see what happened to Carroll here. Carroll now coming through the end of the bus stop here. Let's see what happened to him. Just loses the back end, and around he goes.
Yeah, so Janney just went in too deep and couldn't keep it, and then just a little bit later there, Carroll did the same.
And we're going to go ahead and see what happened to Janney here. Janney Yeah, just way in too deep and bounced it off the wall, and that would be it for Michael Janney in then 9:13. So that's gonna promote Josh Mertz up inside the top 10 a little bit further now, up to P7. And it's also going to promote Pandev up to 9th and Williams up until 10th. And Chris Wetz now on the back of Drew Williams for position. And we got about 5 minutes left in this event. The closest battle on track, it looks like it's going to be this one right here between Wetz and Williams. We'll keep an eye on that one for now, but we may move to the Kingsbury versus Kingsbury battle in just a moment.
Yeah, both those battles very tight as we see the Porsche trying to get past that Corvette of Williams. Wetz still behind, but trying to make a move. Every time they enter a corner, it looks like Wetz is faster on entry, but Williams gets that drive off and is just able to pull away by 2, maybe 3 car lengths.
Just hassling him right now. Wentz using every inch of the track, trying to catch him. But I don't know if it's going to be enough here. We got about 4 minutes left. That's about, I don't know, about 3 laps left in this one.
Yeah, if this was NASCAR, I'd be cheering for them to move each other. But this series all about sportsmanship, all about having fun as well, as Matt and Ray Kingsbury basically just trying to keep themselves clean as Matt's starting to open up a little bit of a gap to his brother behind.
Yeah, that gap growing to about 1.7 seconds and now 1.8 seconds at the last timing loop. So that battle kind of starting to deteriorate. Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to see that. We don't have picture-in-picture here at ASN. Not quite yet. So maybe in the future we'll have it, but not quite yet. So we'll stick with this battle right here for 10th place with Chris Wetz and Drew Williams.
And looks like Wetz has a little bit of a run, but he's on the outside. We'll see what he can do through the bus stop. Gains a whole lot on entry. Can he keep it on exit? He can. He is right there, less than a half a car length behind. Has a run on the outside, but can't get there. And he's going to just hold it as they go towards the boot.
Yeah, not quite far enough near Williams to make anything happen for the time being. Maybe if you were Harry Ticknell, you'd send that thing up the inside, and if that was Juan Pablo Montoya in front of you, but this isn't that kind of racing here. This is a lot more respectful racing and a lot more clean racing than that.
Now this is going to be the battle to watch throughout the field.
Watching what Drew Williams sees out his rear view mirror at this point. Drew Williams trying to get it done. So something also of note, we do have some cars going a lap down. Savvy and Rockstar are right now the first car a lap down in 15th place, and it looks like about Lee Tucker may be going to see that same fate not too long.
Oh, interesting battle. About 2 seconds separates Mertz and Forrest. The last couple laps, though, I think things have been pretty in favor of Mertz. Yeah, it looks like Mertz is running a lot faster lap times the last couple laps.
So I don't know how much time. Well, I do know how much time there is left. It looks like we're going to be coming around to the white flag this time for your leader, Philip Kraus, if I'm not mistaken. We'll have to see if the flagman does indeed give him the white flag right here. So yeah, no, actually, they have not.
4/10 to a half a second a lap. Mertz is running faster than Forrest. He's definitely gaining on him. Be interesting what happens as now the leader goes through up the S's. Just really starting to pull away. It looks like they're going to get this lap and then one more lap. They're going to get the white flag next time by.
That is correct. And we're going to go ahead and jump right back to that battle. Drew Williams has been passed by Chris Wetz, but now it looks like Williams has jumped right back in front of Wetz as they head onto the home straightaway here. Yeah, I think somebody's coming into the pits there. I don't know who that was. I think that might have been... Can't tell who that was. It may have been one of the cars further back in the field. It may have been EJ Fuellner there. So yes, it was. It was actually one of the Apex Technologies cars there of EJ Fuellner. They're up 7 spots from 24th, but it looks like he may have just missed the field by just a little bit here. As Philip Kraus is going to come out off the final corner to see the white flag in the air. And white flag is out for Philip Kraus.
11.5 seconds the lead for Kraus as Kingsbury Matt is behind, then followed by his brother Ray. They're about 1.5 seconds apart between the two of them. Kraus, we saw him start second. He led the first, I don't know, 2/3 of this race, maybe first half of this race, dropped back to 4th, intentionally going down the back road, just slowed up, let some guys by one to see how he felt in traffic, and now he's pulled away by quite the margin. These top 3 Corvettes for Team Spark VR really just doing their thing and dominating this event.
And unfortunately, we did miss that pass for position between Wetz and Williams. I knew that was going to happen eventually, and unfortunately, it did bite us. And we are not able to see that. As it looks like we're going to come to the stripe, and Philip Kraus has already pulled it off and parked it. And we missed that. But it looks like Matt Kingsbury and Ray Kingsbury are going to be 2nd and 3rd. Hamishi is going to be 4th. And so on and so forth.
Yeah, last time by the stripe, 12 seconds now was the advantage, and then the second 1.8 back from Matt to Ray, and then 8 seconds back to Hashimi. Not really any great battles on track right now, other than this Wetz and Williams battle we just saw basically conclude itself. Overall, though, we've seen some great racing throughout this 45-minute feature. We saw a great sprint race to start things up as well. 15 minutes for that, 45 minutes for this one. And the top 8 inversion, I think, really seemed to work itself out. You know, we saw the first 2 place drivers in that heat race, or that sprint race, now running 2nd and 3rd, just trying to catch up to Kraus. They're not going to be able to do it.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that had to do with Philip Kraus' starting position and just the absolute raw pace of that number 19 Spark Virtual Racing Chevrolet Corvette tonight here at Watkins Glen. But we're going to go ahead and wrap this broadcast up for tonight, but we'll be back next week with a live broadcast live on ASM TV USA.